All right. Cool. All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And as you can see in the title, there's no benefit without divine discipline. And this is a title that the elder apostle Ramlab had thrown out during his live stream. I think it's getting to the end of it. Um, and I watched the response that the beloved elder Barack Abar did on it, and it's definitely interesting how the spirit works because I was as I was watching the lesson, the response this video right here, which by the way I've linked both of these videos in the description box by their titles, so you can just click on them and watch them and be edified. So I was watching the video, and sometimes you watch a video and you're like, it's a good video, and as you keep going through, the spirit is bringing out more and more points. You're just like, you know what, that's it, and here you are, here you are doing the response, right? So, it's beautiful how the spirit works, and that's why it's likened onto fire, because that's fire is contagious, right? If you are around it, or there's something as they call flammable, right, near something that's burning, what's going to happen is going to catch on fire. So we in the spirit, at least, the Lord has, like the scriptures say, many are called but few are chosen. One beautiful trait that the Lord blessed us with is being spiritually flammable, which maybe that's a lesson I'll save for another time too, but that's where we are, right? Spiritually flammable, because when you watch these lessons, that's why it's important to watch these videos, because when you watch these lessons, it's like a fire, okay, a spiritual fire that's going on, as the spirit is feeding, the precepts and guiding the lesson through the vessel, okay, whether it be a brother or an elder or whoever it is. That is like a fire, right? The scriptures say that I will make my words in your mouth fire, and this people would. So it's like a fire. So when you listen to it, that's likened onto you being a flammable object, getting close to the fire, and as you're listening, there's certain videos where the fire's so hot that it just catches onto you, and then before you know it, you might even need to stop in the middle of the video because different precepts and ideas are coming to mind, and you got to go do a video on it. Like, how many times you hear, like, for example, Apostle Tahar, right? You'll see him doing a video, and he'll have the thumbnail of another video that he was watching on the screen, and he'll say, you'll see like the timestamp. He'll say, I only got about 3 minutes in, and then I decided to do sign on it, because as you're watching, the spirit just jumps on you, and then there you go. And I was gonna say too, the second thing is the analogy, right, of us being in a body, being in the body of Yahweh Shai, is a very spiritual analogy, because I've noticed ever since I came into the truth, watching different lessons and different videos, that there's the way the spirit has it, we really say the same thing, right? If you look at the divided topics of what we cover in the scriptures, the prophecies have not changed, right? The scriptures themselves have not changed. We use the same amount of scriptures, we go into the same kinds of prophecy, and yet every video you do is different than the one before. Even if it's on the same topic, sometimes you do videos revisiting the same topic, and yet it's still different, yet it's still a different kind of edification comes from it, regardless of what it is. You may literally have done like 10 different, how many videos have we done on the MOTB, and yet they're not identical. We may be speaking on the same prophecy, using the same precepts, but the points are different, because that's how the spirit works. Remember that it's rivers of living waters. So going back to the analogy of the body, you have the hands, you have the feet, you have the you know the ligaments, the tendons, the muscle fibers, the joints, the brain, the nervous system, all of these different parts that are all working in tandem to allow the body to operate as a whole. But now, when you can have one situation takes place, and different parts of the body will react differently to that same situation. And I'm gonna tie that point back in and explain what I mean by this is that imagine something scary happens, or you feel pain, or whatever the case is, right? Different parts of your body react differently. If you see something coming at you and it looks like a flying object that's coming straight at your head, immediately you're gonna have your hands are gonna go up. There's a certain position where you flinch. Your hands are gonna go up, your eyes are likely gonna close, you're likely gonna tuck your neck a little bit, your body's gonna get tense. And at this very moment, there's one event happening. Maybe there's an object coming at you with speed, but different parts of your body are reacting differently, right? Your brain is sending different signals to different parts. And the way that it ties in is that you may have something comes out, a topic, or maybe somebody becomes the flavor of the week. Somebody comes out and says something crazy, and we have to defend the gospel. And it's maybe one video of this individual saying, "Oh, well, really, you guys said this, but this scripture means this," and that represents that one event. And us being different parts in the body all react differently. Meaning, you can watch 10 different videos doing response to one video, and yet you're edified 10 different times in 10 different ways. Because it's all part of the body. So now let's get into the lesson, right? So as I was watching the video, the first precept, or one of the main precepts that came to mind, was Sirach, the 4th chapter, which we're going to go into. Okay, because you have discipline, which typically you would have, like, if you think of it in a carnal sense, you have the father, or the master, who disciplines the youth, so that if the child goes on the wrong path, they get chastised, right? If they are overindulging in something, they cut that off. And these things are disciplining you. And one important aspect about this is you have the one child that gets disciplined, but does not grow in that way, right? No matter what you do, you discipline them as many times as possible, and yet when they grow old, they still go astray. And then you have the other one who gets disciplined, and in returns becomes disciplined. Okay, meaning that they become self-disciplined. So the goal of disciplining, if you are like a father or a parent, you're disciplining your child so that when they grow, they will continue that. You've instilled it in them. So they will be self-disciplined. You don't need to be there 24/7 saying, "Hey, did you do this? Hey, did you do that? Hey, don't do this." You want them eventually to grow in that way and maintain that. Like the Apostle Paul said, we have to examine ourselves daily. Because at the end of the day, you are your best critic, because you know yourself the best. Right? Everybody, I mean, we you may be close to a certain brother, but at the end of the day, he knows himself more than you. Right? You only know as much as you know. So for you to know the most about yourself, you then have to be your own best and worst critic, your own harshest critic. But when it comes to things like, wisdom, okay, which is what I want to focus on in this lesson, which is the benefit that comes with wisdom. There are numerous scriptures on the benefit that comes with wisdom. Okay, wisdom leadeth to a kingdom, immortality, all of these benefits, but they don't just come to anybody, and they don't come cheap. Okay, it takes discipline. Why does it take discipline? Because in order to achieve that wisdom, you have to discipline yourself. If you look at it on maybe even knowledge, right? When you come into the truth, and you start learning, a part of that is disciplining yourself. You have to actually sit down and study, make time to read and research. And when you read and you study, you have to do it the right way. There are numerous, I'm sure, individuals that read, but they don't actually retain and understand the information they're reading. How many times have you read a certain chapter, a certain book, and then maybe like the next day, somebody asks you something about, I know I read this, but it's not coming in. And sometimes you may not have the best memory, but also sometimes it's about how you're studying what you're reading. There, naturally we have a habit where if you're reading something, you'll see that you're glancing your eyes over the words as you're going, and you're literally picking out the words. You know what it's saying, but you have to at some point stop. The part of the studying and the research is you read, you come across a word you don't know, you stop, you go and look it up. You understand, what does it mean? You come back, you read what you read again. You say, okay, this is what I read. Now I know what this word means. Now, what is this whole paragraph trying to tell me? What's the main point of this? And that's the tedious part that takes discipline that a lot of people don't want to do. They read the first paragraph. There's a word here they don't understand. They don't go into the Hebrew. They don't go into the Greek. So they just take it as is. I just read the verse and keep going. But then guess what? You miss out on the benefit of having that complete understanding. And when you actually study that way, you'll realize that you can retain information more. Number one, your brain does a very interesting thing when you put new information into it. Okay. Your brain will not be as efficient as it could be if it literally stored every single thing that you heard or read or thought about permanently. So you have a temporary memory bank, and you have a long-term memory bank. And any new information that comes in first goes to the temporary memory bank, which is about 30 seconds. And then if your brain finds that information to be valuable or useful, it transfers that to your long-term memory bank. And that's when you can remember it. Now the difference between the two, how does your brain categorize this? If you are reading, for example, and you read a paragraph in a book, and all you've done is just read words on the paper, and you don't understand it, you didn't break it down, you didn't reword it into your own words and understand what is the meaning of it, guess what? You're not going to remember what you read. Your brain is not going to say this is important. You didn't stop. You didn't think about it. You didn't digest it. Okay, because it's too. I'm just whatever. I'm just read it. So your brain is not going to store that, and then you're going to say that I remember I read this chapter, but I don't remember what it said. I know the first paragraph mentioned something about this guy, but I don't remember it yet, because your brain didn't store that, because you didn't stop, take time to go into it, to understand it, to break it down. What do you think these breakdowns are? You think when you do a lesson and you break something down, you think you just wake up one day and just start speaking? No, because in order for you to do the lesson, to break it down, you got to break it down to yourself. You got to go through it. You got to ask yourself those. Okay, so what this means? Okay, so if you and that's how we're able to actually remember. If you notice, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, it first starts with the Holy Spirit, but we're able to remember these different precepts, because these precepts are tied to breakdowns in our minds. So every time we think about a breakdown, we remember the precept. Every time we think about a precept, we remember the breakdown, because we've thought about it. So now, let's start off with this. This is the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 25. It says here, verse 24 actually, know ye not that they which run in a race run all, but one receiveth the prize? So run that ye may obtain. And every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things. So what are we doing right now? We're also striving for the mastery. And this is our profession as prophets. The scriptures say in the book of Ezekiel, the 3rd chapter, that we have to eat the whole roll and then go and teach the house of Israel. And eating the whole roll means exactly that, eating the whole roll. And even that, in a sense, in itself takes discipline. But if you are disciplined enough to eat the whole roll, to understand it, to put your emotions aside, to put your distractions aside, and remain fervent in that, guess what? You'll be benefited. Because the more you learn, the more you can apply. The more you can apply, the better your life will be. But you have some people, they see certain parts, they take what they like, they throw out the rest. Instead of you conforming to the ways of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, you say, no, I want to stay the way I am, and then I just want to take bits and pieces from what I like, and then just tack it on and then just do my own thing. But as it says, for the master, you must be temperate in all things, right? Meaning discipline, self-controlled. You can't just do whatever you want to do, because when you have a goal, you have to follow a certain specific path to get to that finish line. You can't go in any path that you want. If you see somebody, like if you watch a track meet, Usain Bolt is not gonna say, "Oh shit, you know what? I got to do one lap," right? So why don't I just cut across, run through the center of the track, and then get to the other half? Why run all the way around it? Let me just run through the center of the track, and I'll already be halfway ahead, and I'm gonna just run back, and now I'm back to the start. He can't do that because in order to be considered the winner of the race, you need to run on the path. And not only that, but you need to run in your lane. You need to stay in your lane. If you're in lane number 3, you got to stay in lane number 3 through your race, whatever the case is. But the point is, you got to stay on the track in order for you to have a chance at winning that first place. You can't just run wherever you want to run. So when you are striving for the mastery or you have a goal, you have to stay within a certain path. You have to stay, like the scriptures talk about, the straight gate. And in order to stay on the straight gate, like in the book of Ezra or Esdras, it tells you about how the path to that beautiful treacherous city is so small that only one man could go at a time. And on the one hand is like a fire, and on the other hand is like a water, deep water. And so you're going on this small, skinny path this whole entire time. This is the only path you can go on. But in order to stay on the path, you have to constantly keep trying to balance yourself. And in our sense, that is you constantly disciplining yourself, because guess what? Demons will not stop. Distractions will not stop. The fact that demons will not stop coming and harassing you means that you cannot let down your guard. You cannot become wanton or incontinent. You have to remain disciplined. You have to, keep yourself in check. And that's very important, because you cannot always rely on somebody to come and keep you in check. To somebody to always look and say, yo, why are you not doing this? You should be doing this. How about you do this? Hey, brother, what's going on here? You got to be able to keep yourself in check. Now, obviously, it all starts with when you first start learning. You're taught the right path. But then eventually, like the Apostle Paul told Timothy, continue thou in the things which thou hast learned. And that's really when the hard part comes in. A lot of people think that the hard part is being told what to do. That's not really the hard part. The hard part is when you don't have anybody to tell you what to do. That is the hard part. Because being told what to do is like going back to the example I gave of walking down the skinny road. Being told what to do would be if you had railings on the right side of the path and the left side of the path. So whenever you slip, there's a railing there that can, hey, stay right here, stay on track. That's what it's like when you have somebody watching over you. Hey, no, don't do that. Hey, do this. Hey, don't do that. They're like the railings. And you may think, this guy's always on my back. This is so annoying. But you try going when there's nobody there to correct you when you're wrong, to point out your mistakes, to call you out, to keep you disciplined. Then that's like walking that skinny road without those rails. At that point, if you fall to your right, there's nobody there to tell you, hey, get back in line. If you fall and you are not the one, obviously through the Spirit, to keep yourself in check, to say, nope, I have to make sure that I'm remaining diligent. I have to make sure that I'm doing my lessons and studying and staying in the Spirit and reading and being diligent and showing up to camp and doing all these things. I have to make sure I do that, because I don't have anybody right now that's going to be those railings. And if I don't do it, I'm falling off the path. See? So as it says, everyone that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things. You can't be temperate in some things and not the rest, because you know what's going to happen? Those demons are going to spot your weak link. When you're temperate in some things and you leave the rest, those become weaknesses, and demons will exploit that. And the things that you can't control about yourself, that's where they're going to attack you from. So you need to adopt some stoic-like traits when it comes to the truth. And that's what I really liked about the title that the elder used, which was there's no benefit without divine discipline. Because the discipline that we exercise is not just regular discipline that these people in the world do. Ours goes a step further. As a matter of fact, in order to maintain in this truth, in order to really be of the elect, you have to have the utmost discipline compared to anybody in this world. Yeah, okay, boxers have to run, do road work, and they have to, watch their weight, and they have to do all those things, and that takes discipline. But guess what? They don't discipline themselves in the way we do. They give in to the ways of this world. They're not disciplining themselves to the point where they're gonna say, I'm not gonna give in or bow down to the image of the beast or take the MARK, the MOTB. I'm not gonna take that because I trust in Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Which one of them is gonna say, I'm gonna gladly lay down my neck and have my head chopped off because I have faith in Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, because I read the scriptures? Which one of them you think is gonna change their whole life because they read the words in the scriptures? To them, that's when the words just become words on the page. When their life is on the line, those are just words on the page. When they haven't eaten in 3, 4, 5 days, that's when they just become words on the page. They're not willing to go that far. So truly, this is divine wisdom that we have to exercise, because guess what? We're looking for a divine benefit. What you think the kingdom is like? I don't know, Miami Beach or something? Like you purchase a ticket on every summer and just fly over there and just no. The kingdom is far beyond anything any of us could ever even think about possibly imagining. So not just anybody can just get that access like that. It says, now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we an incorruptible. See, so these people, even in the world, in order to obtain that corruptible crown, that championship, or that belt, that whatever it is, win that race, they discipline themselves. How much more for us who are doing it for an incorruptible crown? If you want that benefit that you dream about, that you fantasize about, being in the kingdom, having that crown in your head, being crowned by Yahushua, being delivered when the Lord makes his return, that's a part of the benefit. But you're not going to sit on your ass, not do anything, and then expect that when that time comes, now you want to be saved. Look, imagine if here it is, we all got to work, right? And you got the one individual that doesn't want to work. He's just sitting on the wall. And then when the evening time comes and we bring the harvest in, and now the food is being prepared, he's jumping up with a bowl in his hand, trying to say, yo, if I could just get one serving, please. What you mean, if I could get one serving, please? How about you should have got on the field and started serving, please? You see? So it's like the same thing. It's like if you're not doing anything for the Lord right now, and then when the Lord comes back, when it's time to eat, you expect that you want to get a piece. That's not how it works. Verse 26, it says, I therefore so run, not as uncertainly, so fight I, not as one that beateth the air, but I keep under my body and bring it into subjection. You see, lest that by any means, when I have preached to others, I myself should be a castaway. Because that's also another thing that we have to watch out for. I have a beautiful precept that goes with that. Let me see, is it this one? Yeah, there it is. This is Ecclesiasticus 37:19. It says, there is one that is wise and teacheth many, and yet is unprofitable to himself. So just like the Apostle Paul is saying, is I have to maintain discipline. I have to keep my body under subjection, right? Lest by any means, when I have preached to others, he taught many, he is profitable to them, I myself should be a castaway. And a lot of people fall prey to this because you may have wisdom, right? There's one that is wise and teacheth many. But wisdom is not just meant to be had, it's meant to be applied. The true benefit in wisdom is application. It's like you have inflammation, your hand is inflamed, you're in pain. And then you went and bought the ointment. You have the ointment, but the benefit of the ointment is when you apply it. If you don't apply the ointment, guess what? You may have as much of it as you want, but you're still going to be in pain. You're not going to benefit because you have to apply it. You have to use it. Wisdom is not something that's meant to just be stored up. It's meant to be used. It's meant to be applied. In fact, the way you gain more wisdom is by using wisdom and applying wisdom. See, so there is one that is wise and teacheth many, and yet is unprofitable to himself. You ever met somebody that's just cannot stay in a relationship, and yet they give the best relationship advice? You'd be surprised. There are some people out there. Not saying go around and give relationship advice, but what I mean is there's some people that know what to do, how to do it, but they don't do it. And they'll tell somebody else, hey, do this. Like Yahushua said, right? Do as they say, but not as they do. They're telling you what is right to do, but they're not doing it themselves. So guess what? You can listen to them and you can end up in a good path. And guess what? They will be unprofitable to themselves because they have all that wisdom, but they're not applying it. You know why? Which leads me into this next precept here, because it takes discipline. It takes discipline in the first place to gain wisdom, and it takes discipline in the second place to maintain wisdom. Because wisdom, faith, the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, it's not a one and done thing. It's a constant battle. Because just like the Lord gave it to you, he can take it away from you. So it's not something permanent. It can be revoked. That means that you have to maintain a certain mindset, a certain discipline in order to keep, think of it like a subscription-based service, right? For people to have like Netflix or a gym membership or anything that you have to pay continual, payments on, think of it like subscription-based. So if at the end of the pay period, you don't pay, you will lose those benefits. You will lose that service. You don't pay your gym membership will be what? Canceled. You don't pay your Netflix subscription, your Hulu subscription, guess what? Every month you don't pay, they're going to cancel it. Then you're going to try to go watch those shows and it ain't going to be there because your account, you don't have that. So think of the spirit of the Lord, the benefits that we gain as, in this time, at least right now, subscription based. What you do, you being diligent, you serving the Lord, that is your payment. And in return, the Lord lends you the Holy Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh. He protects you. He provides for you. He blesses you with wisdom. These are all things that the Lord blesses his servants with. And you are a servant so long as you continue to serve. But when you stop serving, you are not a servant. You will lose those benefits. And in order to be a servant of the Lord, you must first be disciplined. That is one of the number one things Yahushua taught his disciples. Discipline. Because he knew that when he left, that 3-year span, he had to make sure they were disciplined. So when he left, they were worthy to become apostles. They wouldn't need somebody to discipline them. They will be the disciplinaries, disciplining not only themselves, but others as well. So now let's get into this. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus 4:11. It says, wisdom exalteth her children and layeth hold of them that seek her. He that loveth her loveth life, and they that seek to her early shall be filled with joy. He that holdeth her fast shall inherit glory, and whosoever she entereth, the Lord will bless. See, these are just like some examples of it, of certain benefits of wisdom. They that serve her shall minister to the Holy One, and them that love her, the Lord doth love. Who doesn't want to be loved by the Lord? Whoso giveth ear unto her shall judge the nations. That's power. Just like the Lord said, he that endureth unto the end, the same shall be saved. That's a nice benefit. But then there's a caveat. He that endureth to the end. You need to endure. That's the first step. It says, and he that attendeth unto her shall dwell securely. That's protection. That's safety. These are all part of the benefits. Verse 16, if a man commit himself unto her, he shall inherit her. But in order to inherit her, he needs to first what? Commit himself unto her. And in order for a man to commit himself unto her, he needs to have discipline. He needs to be disciplined. It says, and his generation shall hold her in possession. For at the first, she will walk with him by crooked ways. And that lines up with Sirach chapter 2, verse 1. It says, let me actually read maybe the first two verses. So it says, Sirach 2:1, my son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. Because coming to serve the Lord, fearing the Lord, and acquiring wisdom can be thought of hand in hand. Because the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Coming to serve the Lord is through the fear of the Lord. And acquiring wisdom falls right under. So when you come to serve the Lord, it's likened unto you uh, seeking to commit yourself onto her, seeking wisdom. It says, prepare thy soul for temptation. Set thy heart aright and constantly endure. Your heart meaning your mind. So set your mind right and constantly endure. This isn't something that you just, any old person could just up and do. Some people can endure for a certain moment, for a certain period of time, but to constantly endure, that not everybody can do. And that takes a different level. That takes divine discipline in order to do that. It says, and make not haste in time of trouble. And then it goes on. As a matter of fact, maybe I'll read a little bit more. It says, cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end. Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a low estate. Now, this right here, be patient when thou art changed to a low estate, that's easier said than done. How many of us have been in a situation? Because whenever you're in a situation, a low estate, it's uncomfortable. It's painful. It's not fun. You can barely think about anything else because your mind is constantly revolving around this problem that you're in, no matter what level it is. And if it's something that is causing you, distress, whether mentally, physically, emotionally, it's not fun. And we, as humans, you're looking for what is the fastest way to get rid of this feeling or this thought or this position that I'm in. You start thinking of ways like, damn, man, how do I get out of this? That's the first thing you're thinking of. And it's hard. Maybe you hear that there's a solution, but it's not going to be quick. It might take, a little while. And that's the hard part. Now you got to bear with this low estate, this suffering, this low condition, and you got to suffer it. You got to be patient, but you're only going to be able to do that if you discipline yourself. And what's going to happen at the end of it? Well, I'm going to jump back up to verse 3. Cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end. So if you're able to be patient when you're changed to a lower state and you're able to endure, what's going to happen? You're gonna be increased at your last end. You're gonna receive that benefit. And what's the ultimate benefit? The penny, the kingdom. It says, for gold is tried, and that encapsulates a whole lot of things. For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. And in order to make it through and out of that furnace of adversity and to become refined, pure, you need to have that discipline. So let's go back, continuing on, Sirach 4:17. For at the first she will walk with him, which is wisdom, by crooked ways, and bring fear and dread upon him. And what? And torment him with her discipline. That's at the first. Until she may trust his soul and try him by her laws. So she's going to put you through it. Because remember now, when you first come into the truth, you're coming from being accustomed to so many different things. Most of them are not right. And now you have to change all of those. You have to renew your mind. You have to break bad habits, form new good habits. And as you're trying to do it, you don't understand certain things. You're finding out certain things, new information. You're having to deal with people in the world looking at you different. I mean, all of these different things you're going through. Your family's coming against you. You may lose your job. These are all part of the torments, the discipline, the things that you have to succumb to in order to gain wisdom, to gain her trust. She has to try you. And if you are disciplined enough and you are able to endure that, then the benefits, I mean, that's countless. That's innumerable, the benefits of wisdom, chakama. And it's like a woman, right? Wisdom is likened onto a woman. Well, you got a lot of women that like to, as they call it, they play hard to get, knowing damn well that she wants you. Sometimes not even just as much. She may want you more than you want her. but she's not gonna let you know that. She wants to play that game, try you, do all this, which in this time, people don't really got time for that. But just in a hypothetical world where majority of women weren't demons, right? Hypothetical world. Not all women, majority though, right? Especially here in Babylon. But she'll play those games. And maybe there may be certain women that they're trying to, not really give in, because some of them know their nature. Some of them know that they get super attached. So they're very wary. They don't want to get in. But then when you get them to trust you, right, you got to, as they call, spit game. Right. But whatever it is, you communicate, you talk, you have conversations, you go out, all these things, and then eventually she opens up to you. Right. That's right. So she opens up to you, and she you guys get acquainted, and so on and so forth. And then when she's comfortable and she could trust you, then it's a whole different type, different vibe, different feel, different all of that. Right. That's right. So it says here, so thinking of wisdom like that, verse 18, it says, then she will return the straight way unto him, and comfort him, and shew him her secrets. And verse 17 and 18 are really what I was thinking about, concerning this, because these are the comfort, the secrets. Remember, these are the things that will make you beloved of the Lord, that would allow you to minister, in the counsel of the Lord, to inherit that glory, to get that everlasting life. These are all a part of the secrets of wisdom, a part of those divine benefits. But the only way to gain that is through that divine discipline. And once wisdom has tried you and seen that truly you are disciplined, one worthy of her, then she will return the straight way onto you. So when you come into the truth, that learning curve sometimes is steeper for others than some, right? But eventually, as you learn and you get accustomed to things, you'll realize that now maybe you spend a couple more years, you grow in the truth, the struggles that you had in the beginning, they sort of go away in the sense that they die down. You don't have those same kinds of struggles. What do I mean? When, say maybe you were like a heavy pork eater, and when you come into the truth, remember now you're having to stop this, and it's a very steep change. But the longer you maintain that discipline and stay away from it, it becomes easier to stay away from, because now it's not fresh in your mind. You've stayed away from it so much, for so long, that it's just like, you barely even feel the temptation anymore. It becomes something else, right? And so the straight way is returned onto you. You're comforted, and now you start to really gain those secrets, and then you see how deep the rabbit hole goes. Now it says, but if he go wrong, you lose that discipline. You become undisciplined. You become impatient. She will forsake him and give him over to his own ruin. So you have because what is that ruin? Whatever that ruin is more than likely that is what made you lose that discipline. That is what made you go wrong in the first place. If you have individuals that are not able to labor, to even begin to labor, because they can't endure that discipline. And then you have some that are able to endure the beginning, but they cannot constantly endure, so they go wrong at some point. And once they do that, wisdom flees from your vessel. Along with that is the spirit of the Lord, and it detaches from you, like the symbiote, and it detaches from his host. And then it says, and give him over to his own ruin, because whatever it was in your mind that caused you to go astray, that is likely what separated you from the Lord. Because now, say it was a woman, right? Say that you've been doing good, you're a diligent servant, you know what you got to do, and then you meet a woman and she's enticing you, and then you find out that she's got a man or something like that. But this demon got such a grip on you that now it starts to, you're not, instead of maintaining that discipline, you're letting it get to you, and you're not maintaining that discipline, and eventually you start becoming shaky. Guess what happens? That thing that is causing you to lose focus, to not be disciplined, is going to cause you to be ruined, because it's going to cause you to be separated from the Lord. Your focus is going to be gone. You're not as diligent. You're not doing your lessons as you should be. You're not showing up to camp. You're not, because you're busy doing other things. Then the Lord's Spirit departs from you. And then you go and give in fully, because what holds you back from your worldly lust? The Spirit. And once that Spirit, like it says, once she forsakes you, you will be given over to your own ruin, because now there's nothing holding you back from your worldly lusts. And you're going to go and give into that, and you're going to be destroyed. So it's very important, the benefit of wisdom. But in order to achieve it, it takes a great deal. And as a matter of fact, we're not going to know until Yahushua comes back, until it is known who the Lord's chosen are. Let me put it like that. Because the goal here is endure unto the end. Give all diligence. Fight unto the very end. So at that point, you're going to find out who are the true divine disciplinaries. If I use that word correctly. If I didn't, forgive me. This is Galatians chapter 6, verse 9. It says, and let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we what? If we faint not. Let's look into the word faint. It says to loose, unloose, to set free, to dissolve, metaphor, to weaken, to relax, to have one's strength relaxed, to be enfeebled through exhaustion, to grow weak. And remember what the Lord said, hold that fast, or hold fast that which thou hast until the Lord comes back. Holding fast doesn't mean holding with speed. It means when you fast, right? Like you fasten, they say fasten your seatbelt, you lock it in place, you keep it tight. What does your seatbelt do? It keeps you in check. So when you hold something fast, it means you got a good grip on it. It's stable. So fainting is the opposite of holding fast. You're loosening, you're weakening, you're becoming relaxed. And that's what you cannot afford in this truth. And see, sometimes the most painful part is not even in what you do, but how long you do it for. When you do, you do like maybe push-ups, or you do plank, there's certain exercises that you notice that the exercise itself is easy. It's pretty simple. You can really do it. But it's when you have to do it for a long time and maintain it. Anybody that has run before knows when you run, there's a certain form that you try to keep when you're running. Running for 10 meters is fine. You can keep the form. It's all good. You can even add some speed to it. But now running 400 meter or 800 meter, maybe 1 lap or 2 laps, and trying to keep that form, when you start getting exhausted, your muscles start cramping. You can't taste, your mouth is so dry, you don't even have saliva. Your heart is pumping so fast, it feels like you have internal bleeding. When these things are going on, and you're still remembering, stay on the balls of your feet, keep your knees up, keep your hands moving, all of these things, keep your head straight. And instead, you just want to flab your arms all over the place and, control your breathing. All of these things become hard to do the longer you have to maintain them for. So it's the same thing. Doing these lessons, going out to the highways and byways, doing what you got to do. I mean, that's not, the Lord ain't requiring much. But the problem with some people becomes endurance. They can't do it for long. Eventually, they get tired. They get worn down and they faint. And when they faint, guess what? You're not going to reap. You ain't going to reap the benefits, because you have to endure and reap in due season, which is when Yahushua comes back. And if we're of the elect, we're really going to start reaping even before that, because a part of the reaping is the Lord is going to keep you from the hour of temptation. He's going to feed you. Isaiah 65 and 13, 14 on down, right? He's going to feed you and give you drink and protect you. But that's if you faint not. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to end it here. Low willingness is edifying to the elect. Like I said, I linked both videos. The one that was done by Elder Apostle Ramlab, and the one that was done by the the Elder Barak Abar in the description, so you can access them there. Watch and be edified. And in closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Raka Kudash. And until next time, Shalom.